After 3 very long days on the road, I finally made it. This is the Sugar Shack Diner in Rudyard, Montana. It's a pretty cool looking diner, isn't it? It was a bit disappointing though, because I just drove an hour and a half to be here before sunrise. I was hoping the lights would be on. I found this place randomly on Google Maps while looking for other spots around here, and as soon as I saw that first photo, I knew I had to come. Sadly, it looks like the place has been shut down for a while, so no lights, and also it's not as clear as I was hoping for. There is another building there, there are 2 trucks, there's a structure on the other side, so yeah, not ideal. The shack didn't work the way I was hoping it would, but I liked the truck next to it. Not the photo I was hoping to make here, but I'll take it. But this is only the first of the many spots we're gonna be visiting in the next few days here in the northern plains of Montana, North Dakota, and maybe Minnesota. It's going to be different, it's going to be a lot of driving, but it's gonna be fun, so let's do it. Unaware of all the events that were about to unfold in just a few hours, I headed to the next spot, the first grain elevator of the day. Grain elevators are going to be a recurrent subject during this trip. They are everywhere across the plains, but only a few of them are as photogenic as this one. There are not many wooden ones left, not in this good condition at least, and this is very clean. There is nothing around, so it's perfect for photography. The elevators were the main subject of the day, but honestly they were mostly an excuse, because in the hunt for the next one I kept finding all this other stuff I could never find on Google Maps. Montana is big sky country, and for a good reason. These plains are no joke. Distances out here are absolutely wild, with very little going on between one place and the next. That's why I did most of the scouting online, because I would need 10 lifetimes to explore the thousands of miles of roads across the plains. I don't even know if these states are the best ones to find grain elevators, old churches, any kind of cool buildings, to be honest. Maybe Colorado, Nebraska, Kansas are better places, but the main reason I'm taking the northern route is the weather, because the south is having a pretty intense heat wave right now. And it's so much nicer up here. Actually, it was a little bit too cold. Last night I woke up to 31 degrees inside the car. I think it's gonna be even colder tonight and tomorrow, but I much rather have that than being hot in the car, because that is the worst. What I'm most excited about is not the spots I found online. Those are just breadcrumbs, like a rough plan to get me going, but this is what I'm looking for. The totally random but amazing spots one can find on the road. My next stop was going to take a bit more effort to reach, as I left the comfort of paved roads behind. It started out just fine, but things quickly took a turn for the worse as the road became pretty rough. Thankfully, it wasn't a long drive, and soon enough, my next subject was in sight. guess I'll just park here. Oh, that was a much worse road than I was expecting, but I finally made it. This is the Milk River Church, and there should be a small cemetery with the same name next door. We should be able to go inside. Very cool, but I don't know how much I trust or I should trust these floors. They don't seem to be in the best condition, so I better get out of here. All right, I'm just walking around the church. It's a very cool building, the kind of building I'm looking for on this trip. Composition wise, I think it looks good from almost any angle. There's another cool structure there that I'm gonna go check out later. But one thing I've been trying to do is to get the windows so there is some light coming through instead of having a dark wall. Of course, that's not always possible, and sometimes, like in this case, it's only possible on some windows, but I think that makes the building more interesting. It makes those windows stand out more and the image looks better. Of course, this is not always the case. I like the light coming through in these first two images, but I prefer the dark windows on this last photo. And I guess this one right here is the cemetery. Very tiny. I was trying to see the dates. I don't think they are that old. I think they're from the 20s and 30s, like 100 years old. Well, it is 10 in the morning, so it is breakfast time. I'm hungry. The sun is coming out, which reminds me of last night. It was a beautiful drive to get here along the Rockies. So while I enjoy breakfast, I'm gonna leave you with a little bit of footage and a few images that I've already made so far. Alright, apparently I am at a place called Kremlin, but not the one in Russia. No, this one is USA style, whatever that means. Looks like a very small town, but I stopped here because I saw two elevators by the train tracks and I'm going there to check them out. Well, that was kind of cool. There were many spots there in town that I would have loved to photograph. I try some of them, but the sun is out in full force right now. This is not great. The light is not great. So hopefully I can find subjects that work with this light, because otherwise the rest of the day is going to be very challenging. Okay, there's a spot there. The light was really not helping at all, but this might be my first and only time here, so I had to try something. I figured the elevator could have some images in store inside, but the local residents weren't happy with me coming in. And honestly, the whole place was absolutely covered in bird poop, so yeah, I called it off. I drove, and then I drove some more. I saw many elevators everywhere. I rolled past most of them though, because for one reason or another, they didn't make for good images. But I did find other things worth stopping for. As I got closer to the Mississippi, I spotted a town in the distance, and there a few elevators that looked really promising. I had to check them out. At this point, I've seen dozens of elevators around here just today, but I only stopped at a few of them, at a handful of them. And it's because I'm not documenting them. I'm not trying to capture all of the elevators I see to make a catalog or anything like that. I'm not trying to capture them as they are either. I'm just trying to make beautiful images of them. It's not that I prefer the newer elevators, the metallic ones, to the wooden ones. I don't care about that. I care more about the environment, where they are. I prefer simpler, cleaner places, less chaotic. This one is not exactly that, but with the right building, the right vehicle, the right truck, you just never know what you can find. But yeah, most of them are just not a good subject for the kind of images that I want to make, if it makes sense. And oh well, the light is not helping a lot today, but I only have today here, so I have to do with what I have. The day was coming to an end, but I just kept pushing farther down the road. I saw no more elevators out this way, but I did run into some of the locals. Hey! Hello! You're a beautiful cow. And then, as I was photographing this herd of deer, everything went sideways all of a sudden. Well, as you can see, I'm not in my car. The car is in the shop. It's been there for a while now. That photo of the deer was the last photo I took on this trip. That was almost 48 hours ago, because right after I took that photo, the engine light on the dash came on. But thankfully I was able to drive the car an hour and a half to Great Falls, basically the biggest town in northern Montana. I went to an auto parts store and I was able to use one of those OBD scanners to get the code to at least know what was wrong with the car. It was something with the thermal control valve, whatever. After some quick research on the internet, turns out that this is a very common issue with certain models of Subarus, and of course my Outback is one of those models. It's a faulty piece that eventually stops working. It's not a matter of if, but when. So much that Subaru has offered an extended warranty on that piece, so thankfully the repair is going to be covered by that warranty. But of course this piece decided to break, you know, at not the best place because I'm kind of far away from everything, and not at the best time because it was on a Saturday evening. So of course all the shops and the dealership were closed, so I had to get a hotel for a couple nights. Now it's Monday morning. I dropped the car off at the dealership. They've been taking a look for almost 3 hours now. They just told me that they do have the piece, which is great news, but it's gonna take them another 3 hours to change it, to fix it, to replace it. I have to be home on Thursday night because we leave on Friday morning for a family trip to North Carolina, so I don't have a lot of time left for photography. I don't know if North Dakota is going to happen at all other than just driving through. But this was not the only problem I've had in the last 48 hours. Yesterday I went on a walk here in the town of Great Falls because there are some cool spots around here I wanted to check out, and instead of carrying my big cameras with me, I brought the compact cameras, you know, the RX100, this one, and the new one I got off eBay a couple of weeks ago. I made a video about that camera, kind of, the ZV-1 Mark II, and immediately I noticed there was an issue with that camera because the autofocus was hunting and it was overexposing. It was a very cloudy day and still everything looked very overexposed. Anyway, I did some testing. Turns out that the camera is not able to engage apertures smaller than f2.8 or so. So maybe there is a problem with the blades, with the aperture blades. They can't close any farther than that. So that was just another problem on top of the car problems. It wasn't a great weekend, but thankfully I messaged the seller and they approved a refund. So I'm gonna send it back later whenever I get the car back, and I should get the money back, which is great, but you know, I wish I could have the actual camera. Anyway, even though the road trip just got much shorter than I was hoping for, even though I'm not gonna be able to visit a lot of the spots I wanted to visit, and even though I lost one camera, I wish all problems were as easy to fix. So yeah, I'm gonna keep walking around the town of Great Falls while I wait for the car. All right, I got the car back. I was indeed covered by the warranty, so I'm very, very thankful that I'm able to get back on the road. There are some bad news though, because they found an oil leak.
Appears to be some oil leak in here. Looks like it's coming from the camshaft carrier, so recommend we get this resealed.
So that is not urgent to fix for now, but whenever the time comes, that is gonna be expensive, in the order of thousands of dollars. But anyway, that's a problem for future Adrian. I'm just gonna go to the post office and drop the camera off, and then I'll be on my way. After dropping the camera off, I had a very long drive ahead of me, but with a freshly repaired car and an active oil leak, I was facing a decision. Option 1, the freeway, longer but safer, with some towns along the way every few hours. Option 2, a route that would save me 2 hours, but one that would take me on some seriously remote roads, with basically nothing around for hundreds of miles. Like, the biggest town in a 6-hour stretch is just 5,000 people, with just another couple of settlements farther away. So I went for option 2, of course. I just saw a sign for the next biggest city around here. It's 90 miles away, and it's the town of Jordan, Montana, with a population of 350 people. That should give you an idea of the scale of things here. Distances are wild. I ended up chasing a storm the whole way, so I had rain and snow for a long time, which made those empty roads feel even more isolated. It's snowing quite a bit right now. It is cold, but that house looks so cool there in the snow. So cold. All right, that was cool. I barely saw other vehicles for hours, let alone any houses. And I was on that road for what it felt like a long, long time. At one point, the road just disappeared for 10 miles due to construction. But eventually I got to Jordan, filled up the tank, and after another couple of hours I was finally back on the freeway. It is very late. It's 11:30 p.m. I just made it to a rest area outside of Bismarck in North Dakota. It's been a very long day, so I'm gonna go to bed. I'm just gonna put my pajamas on. I'm logging off for tonight. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one from here, from North Dakota.